Good evening, everyone.
And welcome to the Jacket Pride Update. I'm Hannah Grace.
And I'm Trent Davis.
CHS juniors will be taking the ACT next week. To prepare for this difficult test, they have been going through a rigorous ACT boot camp that includes training for the test's 4 sections. Sadly, past juniors have not had the privilege to attend this camp, so we are expecting some sky-high scores from the juniors.
AP tests start May 8th. Good luck to all of you remembering a class that you took last semester, because I can't even remember what I ate for breakfast.
We have another update on the sightings of a mysterious man in the Career Tech hallway. Suspiciously convenient footprints traveling down the hall have been found. Many find the footprints to match the description of a half-man, half-Lorax figure. We currently have a reporter traversing the wild forest of the far north hallways. We send our best wishes and safe return.
The CHS Talent Show will be April 25th. We're looking forward to seeing lots of interesting acts from many of the school's talented students. If you'd like to sign up, you can do so outside of Miss Garner's room.
The time is drawing near for the seniors to say goodbye to high school heaven. There are a lot of mixed feelings about graduation, but one thing we can agree on is that life is going to change for all of us seniors on May 23rd.
Isabella is joined with Kathleen from Grits and Gouda to make baked ziti in this episode's cooking segment.
Hey y'all, this is Isabella Miner with Kathleen Phillips. She has a blog, a food blog, called gritsandgouda.com, where she talks about shortcut southern recipes. So can you kind of explain what that is and when it comes out and everything?
Okay. Well, gritsandgouda.com, like you said, has southern shortcut recipes. I just posted March Madness Munchies. So if you guys are watching the basketball games this weekend, you can head on over to the gritsandgouda.com. I am on Talk of Alabama and Good Day Alabama once a month, where I show people how to make southern recipes, but with a shortcut. Because none of us have time to spend all day in the kitchen, right?
Seriously. So today we will be making shortcut pasta ziti, is I believe how you pronounce it.
Baked ziti.
Yes. Okay.
And ziti is just a shape of pasta.
Yes. But it's fun to say anyway.
It is fun to say ziti. Okay, so today we're going to get started. This is one of the reasons it's shortcut is the pasta sauce. If you use a really good quality pasta sauce, you don't have to make your own, which could take hours cooking on the stove, cooking down those tomatoes and onions. So, and I typically use something like Classico or the more you spend on it typically is the better, but one of the things I like to talk about on the blog is being frugal, using your money wisely. So what do? I wait till it's on sale, or at Publix, it is BOGO, buy one get one free. So I stock up and buy the pasta sauce.
Okay, that's something you're always going to use. So
That's exactly right. You're always going to. And this is one of those last minute things. If you're like, oh, I do not know what I'm making for dinner.
Or even for youth devos, because that is something that's always coming up unexpectedly for us.
And pasta feeds a crowd.
Yes.
And you can make this the night before. And then just heat it up in the oven, and which is even quicker. All right, so let's get started.
Okay.
So one of the first things we're going to do, it calls for a half an onion. I say it calls for. I developed all of my recipes on Grits and Gouda.
So you did come up with this one yourself?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to chop this onion a little more finely.
You said this was half an onion?
A small or half an onion. This is a chef's knife, and you want to hold a chef's knife. The reason I have these gloves on is onions can be a little strong, and if you don't want to smell like onions, but a tip is to put lemon juice on your hands after you have touched onions, and it helps get rid of
I
that.
believe I'd read that somewhere, but I'd never tried it.
Maybe you read it on my blog. All right, so hold your fingers right here. See the shape of this knife? A steak knife will not do the job of cutting onions like this.
Okay.
And also you might notice a tip. I have a wet paper towel underneath.
I did notice that you did that.
And that is so that your cutting board is not sliding. I think my paper towel has dried out a little bit, but it keeps that from sliding, and so you won't cut yourself.
Especially with this kind. With the wooden, I wouldn't see that as being as much of an issue, but with these plastic ones, that can definitely help.
Wooden is definitely heavier, holding in place. All right, so we have our onion, and we have a pound of ground chuck. You can use ground beef, but ground chuck is kind of a halfway point. Ground beef has quite a bit of fat. Ground chuck it's an 80-20 ratio, 80% beef, 20% fat, and then the next step up is ground round. So if you're watching your fat, go ahead and step up to ground round. Ground beef, of course, is more economical, but ground beef is in the middle. So we're going to cook the onion, the ground chuck together, and salt and pepper. And we're going to head on over to the stove and get that going.
Okay, so now we're going to start with the pasta, and we're using, as we said before, ZT pasta. And is there a certain reason you use this type of pasta, or do you just prefer it? Or?
Well, baked ziti is a classic Italian dish, and like I said, ziti is just a shape. If you don't have ziti, your store doesn't have it, penne pasta might be something you use instead. Let's see, rigatoni, anything shaped about like this will work perfectly fine.
Okay.
So we are going to use this first. So while our hamburger, our ground chuck is cooking over here, we're going to kind of utilize our time well. So while this is cooking, always bring your bring your water to a boil with a lid on it. It will boil twice as fast. So we have probably 2 to 3 quarts of water in here. Always, you want more water than you think you need so that the pasta has lots of room to roll around in there. So the recipe calls for 2 cups, or it really calls for 8 ounces. That's a 16 ounce. So we're going to do the math here. How many cups do we have left in there?
2, I believe.
2 cups. So let's just pour that in there.
Okay.
Pour the ziti in the boiling water. Dump it in. There you go. Now, when you pour pasta into the water, you want to immediately stir it. I don't know if anybody has experienced this, but if you just dump the pasta in and then you walk away and you think you're just ready for it to boil, it will clump together. The pasta is very starchy, and so as soon as you pour it in there, you want to at least give it a couple of stirs. Then you can bring it back on high.
Okay.
Let it come to a boil. Go ahead.
And you cover it back up and let it...
You do not have to cover it all the way unless you're going to be in the kitchen very close by. If you completely cover this up and walk away to do something, what's going to happen more than likely? It's going to boil over. So you want to put the lid on to help it come to a boil faster, but you can kind of cock it like that a little bit. When it comes to a boil, and we do have it on high, so I can see it is starting to boil. When it comes to a rolling boil, what that means is the water is bubbling, and not stopping. It's a rolling boil, and it is. Take the lid off. Do not cook the pasta with the lid on. You only put that on there to help it come to a full boil. Now the recipe called, how long did it say we're going to cook it?
9 to 10 minutes.
All right, and we're going to bake it in the oven, so it's going to continue to cook. So we're going to go with a lower amount. Grab that timer, and we're going to set it for 9 minutes. Okay?
You may want to use the phone because
That's
not
all.
work that well.
All right, we're going to put that for 9 minutes. Great. Now set that aside. So we're managing our time here. This is now cooking. We're going to come back over here. If you want to just kind of break that up, and I'll hold it. So just break that up. You're cooking the onion in with the it gives the ground beef such a great flavor, and onions do cook down. If you absolutely do not like onions, you can leave it out.
I have a cousin that doesn't like onions.
So don't think you can't make this recipe because it has onions in it. Just leave it out. You might use a little onion powder so you don't have that the pieces of onion. Emeril Lagasse used to always say, I don't know about you at your house, but at my house the meat doesn't come flavored. So you have to put the salt and pepper in there, and it really brings out the flavor. So
and I can smell it. It smells really, really good.
All right, so we're going to now. Don't over stir it. You want to let it cook like this a little bit, and then stir it. Cook a little, then stir it. Otherwise, you may not get any browned bits on the bottom. So we're going to let that cook a little bit, and then we're going to drain it in a colander. Ground chuck will have a little fat to drain. You do not want to just add that to your mixture. You want to drain that off. And so while this is cooking, we'll come back in a minute. Meat should look like when it is completely cooked. The onions, you can see, almost disappeared. They have cooked down and it's flavoring our ground beef. Our pasta is almost ready over here. So let's turn off our ground beef, and we are going to drain the beef. So if you want to bring that over. Awesome, the pasta is also ready. So you want to just pour that in, just dump it in there. There you go. I always have a plate or a bowl underneath to catch that. Okay. There you go. We're gonna let that drain. And then our pasta's ready. So we're gonna come right back over here with our pot holders and turn this off. Okay, and we're just going to, we have a colander right here in the sink. We're gonna pour it in. We did not use oil while we cooked this. Actually, and a lot of people do that, but if you put oil in the pasta, it might control the spilling over, but don't leave your kitchen anyway. But if you put oil in there, it coats the pasta, makes it slick, which prevents the pasta sauce from sticking to the pasta.
Which is one of the best things.
Yes, you want it to. So we're gonna put that right there. All right, so we're gonna let that drain just a tiny bit. We've got our meat draining. We've got our pasta drained, and we're going to actually put that right back in here now that it's drained. This saves a bowl. Don't get out another bowl when you can put it right back in the pot, because who likes to wash dishes?
Seriously.
Not me. All right, so let's bring this over here. Our meat is drained. Now I'm going to put a hot pad underneath that so it doesn't burn the counter. All right, so go ahead and dump in the meat into the pasta. Very good. And we're going to, so according to the recipe, and you can get the recipe on gritsandgouda.com. I'll have that up by the time this airs. If you want to grab the tomato sauce, so the recipe says tomato and basil, but the 4 cheese is great. Also, don't let the kind of pasta sauce you have stop you from making this. Use what you have in the pantry. All right, so let's just pour that in.
But you said you did prefer the Classico?
Well, that is one of the good brands. It's also one of the ones that's on buy one, get one at Publix all the time. All right, so we're gonna just reach in there and grab the last little bit of that sauce with a rubber spatula. See, we got at least 2 more tablespoons.
That's what my
out
Nana
of that.
always does. She's definitely a saver, and she's like, you have to get the last bit of everything out.
That's right. That's a whole biteful right there. All right, so go ahead and stir that all together. We've got the pasta and the ground beef and the tomato basil sauce. While you're stirring that, I'm going to grab our dish that we're going to put it in, and I'm going to take this over here. All right, now while you're stirring that up, let me show you this little tip. So we're going to coat the dish with cooking spray so that it won't stick. A tip now, if you were to spray this right here, I may actually spray it on you, might spray it on the counter. Some of it might get on the floor and might cause a falling hazard. So a tip is to open up your dishwasher. If it is a dirty dishwasher, don't do it if it's full. And spray it right into the dirty dishwasher, and see that catches that oil, and then you run the dishwasher and it cleans it. You can also do it right into a trash can over it so you don't get it on the floor. So I'm going to do this, since that is a clean dishwasher, I'm going to do it over the sink. All right, now,
well mixed?
Yes, that is well mixed. See that right there? See how the pasta cooked up? It didn't look like a lot of pasta, but pasta triples in size. So what we're going to do right now is put half of our mixture. And you can eyeball this. We're gonna stir that up right there. Dump in half of the mixture. And it doesn't have to be a 13 by 9 dish. It can be about a 2-quart casserole. This may be a tiny bit even bigger casserole, but so we're going to put that right there. Not all baked ziti recipes have a creamy center. That's just something that I like to do. And again, the shortcut is the jar of Alfredo sauce. Alfredo sauce is like cream and Parmesan cheese. And this looks like it's a light one, so hey, we're saving some calories today, so we can feel good about it.
Yes.
So just pour.
And you said that that is something you can do with this recipe. You can critique it to fit diets, and
you can tweak it if you need to watch your calories. Like I said, you can use ground round, less fat. This is a light Alfredo sauce. Omit the salt if you don't want to put that in your hamburger. So what we have here is we've got the creamy Alfredo sauce in the middle. Then we're going to sprinkle, my hands are clean, we're going to sprinkle a cup of mozzarella cheese.
Yes.
This is gonna be good. Cheesy goodness. All right, now we're gonna put the remaining half of the pasta. Make sure, instead of dumping and spreading, we're just kind of pour it all over and then try to spread it. Otherwise, you're going to be raking the front to the back and it won't cover as well. All right. See, we are almost done. This is a very quick recipe, and see,
And it looks like it would last at least 2 days at our house.
Very good. All right, so now we're going to put the remaining 2 cups, which is almost the rest of this bag, the remaining 2 cups of mozzarella cheese. I am a cheese lover. But again, if you are watching your calories and you want to put just half the amount, it will still be good because you have all that yummy Alfredo sauce in the middle. Now, to gild the lily, which means you've already got something beautiful and perfect, but we're going to go over the top and make it even better. And we're going to put Parmesan cheese on top. So mozzarella is a yummy cheese, but there's not a lot of flavor in it. It makes that great cheese pull when you're eating it, but the Parmesan cheese is an aged
give it
cheese.
that flavor.
It will give you much more flavor. So at this point, you can put it in the cover, put it in the refrigerator, and wait till you're ready to bake it overnight, later that day, or you can bake it, then put it in the refrigerator and reheat it the next day, or we can stick it in a 350-degree oven right now and bake it for at 350 until it's bubbly around the edges and the cheese is browned on top.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Kathleen, for coming and showing us this delicious recipe. And,
You're welcome.
For everyone watching, remember to go to gritsandgouda.com and check out some of her other recipes.
Or follow her on Facebook.
Or Twitter, or Instagram, or Pinterest.
This is really good.
This
Thank
is
you.
awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for watching.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and check out thejacketpride.com to stay up to date.
We'll be back May 11th for the final Jacket Pride update of the 2018-2019 school year.
Bye.